Hello and welcome, everybody. We are at our final Pros Who Know session for 2024. And then we'll do some quick introductions. I'm Katie Stradel. I'm here with ProShip, the owners of the Pros Who Know webinar. Charlie, I'll pass it on to you.
I'm Charlie Hawkins. I'm with one of the ProShip companies called Varsity Logistics, and I'm the director of sales. I've been in the transportation industry from a software standpoint, the warehouse management industry from a software standpoint, and I've been in those for 35 years.
Thanks, Charlie. Mike, you want to tell us a little bit about your background?
Yes, I'm Director of Software Development here at National Retail Systems. We're a 3PL company. We do a lot of parcel shipping for a lot of different customers using a lot of different methods. I've been in IT for, 40 years, working on the AS400i platform.
Awesome. And Robert, you want to give us a little background?
Yes, hi everyone. Robert Banas, CIO here at Gertmanian. We're a rug distribution company that's been in business for over 125 years. I've been in the IT industry for 30 plus years, from programmer to leadership roles, working with several software, EDI, WMS, ERP systems on different platforms.
Awesome. All right, well, we're excited to talk to you guys today. A couple of the things that we're going to talk through. We're going to talk about the drawbacks of multiple carrier systems, the benefits of using a unified shipping solution. Robert and Mike are going to provide kind of a case study here, talk about their transition and the success they found. Everyone will provide some final advice, and then we'll get to that Q&A. So let's kick it off by talking through some of the drawbacks of multiple carrier systems. I think when we first started this discussion, right off the bat, Charlie, one of the first things you brought up was rate shopping and how big a benefit that is. So can you talk a little bit about the inability to show multiple rates and why that's an issue?
Sure. And I want to kind of start by saying, on this call, we have attendees from all different sized shippers. So there are different complexities. Every shipper is different, but we're going to kind of cover things for the high and medium volume folks, as well as the lower volume folks. So the most obvious is, and I think everyone understands this, they are multiple separate systems, right? So if you want to check rates, you would have to go to each individual system inside the organization, right? So that doesn't obviously make any sense. But tied to that really is a bigger problem on a bigger scale, and that's it restricts the ability to utilize a multi-carrier strategy, right? So the industry has changed, and there are a lot more carriers, and there are carriers that have sweet spots and focuses, whether it be price or time and transit, that would really be best for a certain shipper. So a multi-carrier system doesn't do that, and you don't want to, now, we'll just use the name UPS, FedEx, the post office via, or Indicia. Amazon is requiring people to do certain things. Regional carriers are doing a heck of a job. They've come so far in the last 10 years. It's just really difficult to use all these individual systems. And in fact, people usually give up after 2, oftentimes after 3 as well. So it really puts people in a very difficult spot using these separate systems.
Yeah, and Robert, I think when we initially talked, you had talked a lot about the integration piece and how disjointed that can feel.
Yeah, definitely. Now with adding to, how many, the options, there's so many options out there with different systems, different ways it can talk. The integration is a big piece of it. When looking at systems, it was a big deal for us to make sure that not only that it integrates well, but it also is very user-friendly at the other side, right? Training is a big part of everything, and you want to make sure that not to overcomplicate things, and make sure the user is able to use that system wisely. So yeah, integration is a big part.
And Mike, I think when you had first made the transition, speed was a big priority for you guys, right?
Yeah, with a single carrier station, we weren't able to keep up with the shipping that we needed to do, which, sometimes it exceeds 1,000 packages a day. So we needed something that was going to be a lot faster. It would take us 2 to 3 minutes to ship one package sometimes by the time they filled in all the information manually.
And
Sorry,
Katie, if I could,
yeah, go ahead. Mhm.
I'm getting feedback. Sorry. I think it's important to talk about the level of integration of these carrier provided systems. I mean, they were really designed just to process, create a manifest billing file, if you will, for the individual carrier. They're so far from a good multi-carrier shipping software package in that, what I call shallow integration. A multi-carrier shipping software system is designed to really get a lot more data. And why is that data important? We're trying to minimize what I call exception processing. If you want to print hazardous material shipments, there's information that's needed from the item master to be able to process those, right? These carrier provided systems create situations where you have reduced efficiency based on exceptions. So export docs, UCC 128 processing, and there's no rules there, right? I mean, you want a system that makes decisions based on a lot of different factors. And the integration is definitely one of the big shortcomings of the carrier provided systems.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, so I want to add to Charlie. Yeah, absolutely. It's data visibility is a challenge at times when you're working with multiple systems because they just don't look the same, right? So you want to normalize that data, centralize where everything is at, and it's a very big piece of the project, specifically this type of project. And for us, it's really is a real benefit for having a single database, I guess, if you can call it that.
Sure, for sure. And relative to the inefficiencies, it's really precluding. If we go back in time, I mean, the carrier provided system is an end of the line system. That's really all it's able to do. And what that really is doing is it's hurting the shippers because it precludes them from doing more efficient processes in many cases. Things like pick by shipping label, get shipping labels at packing time, use a belt mounted zebra printer to put shipping labels on. If you have back orders, a lot of times someone may want to print a whole bunch of labels and go print the labels and then go out with those to the actual item and increase efficiencies that way. So definitely a drawback.
Yeah, Charlie, I think we had talked about some of those workflow enhancements, right? That a multi-carrier shipping system can bring, and the drawbacks were not being able to access, like cartonization. That was one thing I think that you had talked about. What were some of those other things?
Yeah, so there a lot, and I keep saying that, but a lot has changed in so many ways in shipping and warehouse efficiency, and a lot of this is just coming to not in the last 10, 15 years, right? I mean, some of the ERPs didn't have the capabilities, and now there are options. For instance, Varsity has we're going to call it an optimization cartonization module, where we could actually suggest which corrugated should be used by the picker, which corrugated box, based on the dimensions, based on how many items are on the order, based on master cartons. And there's really 2 or 3 things going on there. It makes it more efficient, and it helps you manage what's in those items. but it's also making sure you're not going over on the dimensions. And we can talk about carrier chargebacks later, but dimensionalization is a big thing. We're also able to and it's not just about Varsity and ProShip. A good multi-carrier system can actually integrate with, containers. Sorry, I can do this. Can integrate with the in motion, weigh, rate, and apply systems.
Yeah. So I think that we've talked enough about the negatives. So we'll move on and kind of talk about some of the positives there. So the benefits of using a unified shipping solution. Robert, I'll probably kick it off with you, and maybe you can talk through some of the simplified processes here and what you've seen.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. When you have multiple systems, obviously, one of the key things is you have to work with a system with their process, right? And it could be, and you have one, you have two, you have three. Now you're working with three different processes. Now you have your processes, your ERP, your WMS. And to marry all those, you're talking about 5 different processes all of a sudden. So the good part of having everything in one system is that you can utilize your process and do all the back end work. ODBC with a parcel shipping like a FedEx or UPS or others can take you so far, but taking that information, integrating into your ERP or WMS, and making it your process without having to worry about the other portion of it is a big piece. Training, you have your efficiency gains because you're not having to relearn anything other than what you already know. You're now generating less labels or less documents, and you're in a good position to kind of take all that and consolidate everything and have the real-time data that people are looking for without having to go to different systems. So that's for us, again, that's a big part of the savings is time and processes and happy shippers, I guess. So
Absolutely. And it really allows you to have the freedom of choice, right? So, when you got 3 carriers, a lot of times, depending on your volume and what you're shipping and your and other things, it really, you should really be able to use multiple carriers for different purposes, right? It's not just UPS or FedEx. Maybe there's a regional carrier that gets things there faster. Maybe, you've got a certain product category of things that are lightweight, and maybe the post office is best for that. Sure. Maybe there's some kind of catastrophe or something, and the primary carrier that you use is not available anymore. So what are you doing? There's some people that just using one single carrier and one single carrier provided system. It just makes so much more sense to have all the options, have all the data, right, that you've used over the last number of years about your shipping volume. What kind of shipments are you making? Take that information, because you can get the data out of a carrier provided system, get that data, give it to the other carriers, talk to consultants about, what should I do? Here's my volume. How do I use and invoke a multi-carrier strategy where I'm using different carriers for different things? Shipping costs have never been as high as they are now. It's having a huge impact on bottom lines. I mean, look at some of these. We talk to customers all the time and prospects, and the carrier spends out there are huge. I mean, if you can find efficiencies and use certain carriers for certain things, if you save 10, 15, 20%, it's a huge win. And it's just kind of mind-boggling that a lot of people are really stuck with, hey, it's free. I got it for free. They put it in for free, but really they're leaving so much on the table. Sorry for going so far out of that, but I really do feel strongly about it.
And Mike, I'm sure as a 3PL, you guys have to deal with a lot of those kind of unique customers, specialized customers, because you have so many. And a unified shipping solution can provide that kind of a solution for that kind of complexity, I guess. You want to talk a little about that?
Besides shipping to our customers, we're also shipping to our customers' customers. So we have so many different packages going. We ship it the way the customer says, so there's no rate shopping or anything. But you have so many different things that you need for each carton. Like one might need a UCC label and a packing list, one might not. So with this integrated solution, you just scan a license plate on the carton, and you're automatically popped out all the documents you need for that shipment. There's no need to have to worry about going and getting a UCC label or printing a packing list somewhere else. It's all just happens right there at the shipping station once they scan the cartons.
And Charlie,
Mike, I know you have multiple warehouses. Is
Yeah.
it nice to have control over, being able to set rules in the system that says when it's this particular customer that you're shipping on behalf of, this is what needs to happen. We need to put, a packing list with your customer, logo on it, right? And it always needs to be shipped this way. Of course, bill their account number, unless there's an exception to that. But being able to control these various locations from one spot, I would imagine that's important.
Oh, heck yeah. We could never do that with individual carrier machines. Every customer wants a different packing slip. Every customer has their own UCC label design. It's like a lot of back-end work that we have to do to make it function correctly. And I don't think we could ever do it using carrier stations.
Right. And so you do have separate rules for all those different customers, right? That just kind of happen automatically. Yeah.
Yep. Everything happens automatically. Order comes in, it populates a file that tells us how to ship it later on when we're ready to. So, and then it goes and gets that customer's rules and, weight breaks, things like that. Even.
Charlie, I think I'll go back to you. Oh, go ahead.
No. Sorry. There's a little bit of a delay. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I was going to go back to you and talk through the integration piece again. I think we haven't really touched on the reporting at all yet, or the analytics. Maybe you can speak to that a little. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So one of the companies I was at in the past, we had called carrier provided systems islands of information, or use that term. And it's actually a pretty good way to think of it. That data is there. You can get it, some of it, but it's not available to the enterprise. And there's really not a lot of tools to get it. And then if you've got 3 different systems, you follow me, it's all on you to try to make something out of these silos, if you will, of separate data. So a good multi-carrier shipping software package will have all that data, and it's actionable. You can use it. A lot of people use it for carrier negotiations. I mean, if you're a carrier provided system user today, you may, UPS or FedEx or whoever will come in and say, here's what kind of shipper you are. You're a zone 6 shipper, a zone 4 on average, meaning how many zones you're crossing on average. Here's this and here's that. And you almost wonder, are they ever leaving anything out? You know what I mean? Are they really kind of helping you? It's kind of in a sense, a conflict of interest, right? They're giving you data to negotiate the way that they want you to negotiate. So having all that information is great, and being able to report against it, absorb it, look at it, give it to other people for analysis. But from an integration standpoint, you really want the data to be out there for the enterprise to see. right? So it's not just the reporting. It's folks that use Varsity are able to go in customer service. Someone's just and see, hey, I only received 2 boxes. Here are the 2 1Z numbers, and then customers can. In real time, customer service can say, well, we shipped you 5 boxes and here are the 3 1Z numbers you're missing. I'm going to hit 2 keys here and go, and then you're out to the carrier and you're actually seeing where those are, and what the issue is. They are also able to, if someone chooses to integrate it this way, to see what was in those boxes. We capture carton contents. If that's the type of install someone wants, it's very straightforward, and you can see what's missing. I remember there was a famous motorcycle manufacturer that used our software, and back in the day, the dealers would call in the most expensive things as missing, and they actually would weigh each box on the back end and save it into their ERP so that they could backtrack as to what was really in there. Because, if there's 3 items and each weighs this, they know it should be there. So they actually saved a bunch of money doing that.
Robert, anything you want to add here before we move on to the case studies?
No, I agree with Charlie. I mean, there's sometimes a lot of hidden things and a lot of exceptions that you have to deal with, but reporting is a big part of it. It's everything, right? It's where your KPIs come from. It's where your decision making comes from, and the advantage of having it in a single spot or a database or in your ERP or whatnot is tremendous. Now you can utilize all of your files that you're familiar with, match them up with your shipping system consolidation databases, and just generate things that you wouldn't have thought that you can do with disparate systems. So it's a game changer for us, at least. We rely on it daily since we've implemented, and it's a win-win for us.
Katie, that's great, Robert. Katie, before we get into the case studies, I just wanted to, hopefully it's come across, but it's so important that the decisions are taken out of the hands of the actual shipper. There's so many things, and again, it depends what kind of shipper you are, but I've been through plenty of warehouses where, well, it's a UCC 128, or they may call it an EDI customer. So those shipments go over here because that's how we print the UCC 128 labels out of TL Ashford or whatever it is. And then we actually also put some information in the host system for the 856 or the advanced ship notice, if you will. And that's a separate process. A good multi-carrier system can do all those things, right? It can write out that hierarchical data to a translator, or at least the shipping part of it, so that ASN goes and gets triggered inside the ERP by the shipping software. Decisions by carrier, by mode, by service, and guys, we haven't really used the word LTL, but when we're saying a system can handle any carrier, we're talking LTL. We're talking about comparing, the LTL minimum, so to speak, in your contract versus hundredweight. UPS and FedEx are going after this LTL volume with their parcel business. They've also acquired a number of them themselves, and they're competing with them that way. But you really want to be able to, do. And when we talk about rate shopping doesn't just have to be looking at it each one. It's really more about automated rules that are based on some modeling and some rate shopping that you've done before. So it comes down to people really not having to think about things. They scan something and it's automatically going to do it. A UCC 128 label comes out automatically after the shipping label. export docs, come out, commercial invoice, shippers letter of instructions, export decks, Canadian customs, all those things should be automated. People shouldn't be going to a filing cabinet or having to push those types of orders to the transportation office or to accounting or customer service because there's been problems in the past, et cetera. So sorry, I wanted to get those
No, for
important
sure.
points in,
Important.
Katie. Yeah.
Yeah,
Char-
important
Char-
information.
Charlie,
So,
I heard you mention your 856 ASNs, EDI. That's a great point. As easy as generating, as easy as a tracking number, right? Containerizing within containerizing, depending on your customer. I mean, if you have the data and send it up, synchronize it with your ERP or WMS, that right there will save you a lot of time to generate that EDI
Yeah.
fixed data. So
Right.
I agree.
And in this day and age, a lot of, if a computer system can make a decision for you, you should probably let it, because, we had the accuracy line item there, and accuracy is not just, eliminating fat finger typing into a system. There's more to it than that, as you say.
Sure. For sure.
right. Well, I think we're ready to dive into these case studies and talk about NRS and Germanian's actual transition and the outcomes from that. So we will start with you, Mike. Let's hear about NRS and your experience. Mm-hmm.
Well, I have used Varsity in prior companies I worked at, so I pushed for it when I started working here, and then we're very happy to have it. We use it in 3 separate warehouses, so we actually eliminated 6 different carrier systems that we had here. And it's not like you service those yourselves. You got to call the carrier, wait for them to come in a day. So just efficiencies in general, and this allowing us to ship, more packages per day definitely was an improvement. And just the integration with our ERP software, with our EDI software, and all that just saves us a lot of hassle and work. The carrier systems weren't always reliable. They would need to be updated in the middle of the day, things like that would cause all kinds of issues when you're trying to have people work. But it's easy. We can onboard a new customer in a day now, instead of, having to wait for the approval from another carrier system, things like that. We want to add a new carrier to be able to ship with it. We can do that. It doesn't take in more than a few days to do, if that. But we're very happy with having this instead of having all these separate systems to work with.
Yeah, it sounds like speed was really a driving factor there in the throughput for you guys to make that transition. And
just the ability to put all these rules in place for different customers, and things like that, which, did you print the label? Did you print the packing list? You don't have to worry about it. It's all done for you. You don't have to think. So, basically a person at a shipping station just scans, and whatever comes out gets attached to the boxes, and we're done. Yeah,
managing all that complexity on the back end, so it's simple for you guys. All right, Robert, let's hear Germanian story.
Yeah, sure. So, to understand it a little better, so we distribute rugs. Rug is a lot larger than a standard box that you would think. They come in rolls, they come in big boxes and such. So it's very bulky, and shipping that through parcel can be challenging because there's a lot of documents that you need to go along with it. So we looked at that and looked at our requirements and goals. And one of the first things is, how do we simplify this? How do we make this work with our system? So integration with ERP is top of our list. Reduce the amount of paperwork that we generate, like the pick list, the packing list, and any reports that's needed to prepare shipment. Reduce the recurring tasks that we would normally do to get a shipment out, consolidate that so we can be more efficient. and have data that's visible to everyone. Normalize that, centralize it for reporting and decision making and other things. And and at the end, optimize the pick, pack, ship process for our business here. So what's the solution? Well, we said, well, let's take all of the different systems we have that we use to ship parcel, and let's see if we can consolidate that into our ERP system. By the way, we're on a IBM Power 9 system, and that's what we're currently using. So we eliminated by doing that. We took all of the little client PCs and consolidated it there, and it gave us the ability to utilize what we already know with the processes as well as software. So training was very, I wouldn't say seamless, but very efficient. By doing that, we eliminated a lot of the PCs, obviously, the shipper provided PCs. The most important part is the need for multiple data entry points. Each shipping station will typically, if it's not consolidated, you'll have to go in and scan or enter data into that and to be able to process a shipment. We eliminated that. The different processes of shipping an order, as well as multiple resources for reporting, we eliminated that. The results were great. We took from minutes to process an order to seconds, and again, we were able to just eliminate some of the documents that we used to print. Imagine taking paper, folding paper, putting it in a sleeve envelope, sticking that on a product. And now we've eliminated that. We print one document, which is the label that you need to print anyhow. And we've extended that a little bit and added more information to that. And I'm going to go back to consolidating the database. That really is one of the key features of having it in a single system, because you're able to do so many things with it. Your tables, your transactions, your history are all there for you to report, and depending how creative you want to get with it. Real-time data, of course, that's a big part in anything. You want to make sure that anything that you process, you have access to immediately without having to wait. And that's been a game changer for us as well. So it's just overall, of course, there's pros and cons to everything, but those are some of our successes, I guess, if you can say.
And Charlie, I know with your tenure at Varsity, you were around for both of these transitions. Anything you want to add to either of their stories?
I mean, and I'm just going to say it. I mean, I'm very lucky to work with a multi-carrier shipping software package that actually goes in, yes.
Hey, Charlie. Sorry, I think we're having some audio issues here. Maybe you can go on mute and then come back real quick.
Okay. Test, is that still the case?
Yeah, it's got some feedback there. Mm-hmm. That's all right. Maybe if you want to just do a quick refresh and then come back, that's all right. We can go back to, I was going to actually ask Mike if there was anything else he wanted to highlight on the outcome side for the transition. Something, I know you talked a little bit about the speed and the throughput, but anything you really wanted to highlight for part of the success too?
Just being able to integrate Varsity's system into our own ERP, so people can go in and they can see, well, this package was shipped 30 seconds ago, so it's going to be going out today. We just didn't have all that visibility with the carrier systems all the time. People, it took them a while to get used to it, but they seem to love it now. It makes their job so much easier out in the warehouse. But yeah, definitely worth the money.
Charlie, are you back with us?
I went on mute and came back. Is that better?
A little bit. We can continue from here. Did you wanted to add something about both of their transitions?
Well, yeah, I was saying that I have the luxury of working for a company where the installs are clean and they're straightforward. You know, it's you really have to point out, right, to, you know, what the changes are going to be, which we're doing here now for folks that haven't made a decision to move to a true multi-carrier shipping software package. But I thought the software went in cleanly, went in quickly, and then the benefits, I know, I'm not sure if Robert mentioned it today, but his ROI was very, very fast. Are you hearing me okay now, Katie?
Yeah. Yep. Sounding good. Sounding good, Charlie. Robert, anything you wanted to add there about ROI? I know we talked about it in a few of our run throughs, but anything you wanted to add there?
Yeah. So, you know, it's like anything else, you have to measure what you put in and see what kind of return you get out of it and how long and all that. So, you know, ours is, I mean, I wouldn't say straightforward, but yeah, the ROI is, you know, it's very quick. I mean, it's everybody's different, obviously, depending on the business and processes. And for us, it's been very positive as far as that goes. And we're continuing to improve. You know, as we add new things, as we make changes on other things, we continue to improve and get the efficiencies down to, you know, right, less and less every time. So
Awesome. All right. Well, I think we're getting close to the end here, so we'll probably go to final advice. We'll just go around the room. Charlie, anything you want to share with these attendees here? If there was one piece of advice you'd give them?
Yeah, yes. So there's so many things that are different about shipping today compared to shipping even 10 years ago. There's so many valid carriers out there and so many valid options that it really doesn't make sense to have a single carrier strategy anymore, right? A multi-carrier strategy allows you to take advantage of the sweet spot that certain carriers, or strength, if you will, that certain carriers offer. And there is a large savings in that. So in addition to that, you know, you've got Amazon, okay, which if you're that type of customer, you're having to interact with them for backhauls and special shipments and all kinds of requirements. It's nuts to have all this stuff separately, right? And if you've got a multi-carrier system that, and there are all kinds of multi-carrier systems, and you may be listening to this and saying, well, I've got a multi-carrier system, I can't do any of that stuff or this stuff. You need a good one, right? The ROI is there. It's driving the exceptions out of the processes. It's making you more efficient. You're able to enforce rules that are directly related with cost savings. It's eliminating chargebacks from the carriers. Okay. How many people are actually looking at their bill compared to what your manifest or what you were expecting? Varsity has a module that can audit. Other folks have audit modules as well separately, but you need to compare all that. So this is a tool that saves you money in so many different areas, and everyone's situation is a little bit different, but the time has come to get rid of those separate systems or get rid of a inferior, low cost or low functioning multi-carrier system and get into something that allows you to get into this century and bring true cost savings. And the ROI is there. That's the last thing I'll say.
Yes, very, very on point for this discussion. Mike, I'll go over to you next. What do you want to share with our audience?
Well, being a 3PL, having this has enabled us to bring on more customers. They're kind of impressed by the fact that we can ship any way they want to and not have to worry about it. We're not driving how things are shipped. They are. So when you can say to them, yeah, well, we can ship UPS, FedEx, on track, post office. You just let us know how you want that package to ship, and we'll ship it that way. Another thing that wasn't mentioned is Varsity has address validation built in that also prevents a lot of problems. because we've sent out packages before we use that just get lost and don't get delivered and things like that. So now that we're validating all our addresses, it definitely is a plus too.
So really supported your growth, expansion, all of that. All right, Robert, we're at your door. What are you sharing with us?
Yeah, we touched a little bit on ROI, and there's a lot of hidden ROI items that sometimes get overlooked. Supplies. I mean, supplies is a big deal. If you're shipping thousands and thousands of packages, supplies can get very costly. Between the paper, between the plastic, between all of that. Just to keep in mind, that's a good part of our ROI line item as well. And obviously the time to put all that in, that's a big feature as well. And it really is. There's a lot of little hidden things. Just the automation of a process can be so much. How do you call that? You gain time, I guess, by automating a lot of that as well. And it allows us as a team to look at other opportunities to say, okay, now that we've done step A, what's step B, what's step C? And you have more time to plan and learn from your step A's and B's. So it's for us, it's a good thing. And back to the, what would you do different? Well, you kind of look at this project and look at it as a whole, and you look at those little things that can add up to big things for us. And as someone who does that, just want to make sure that it's clear that that's something that shouldn't be overlooked, especially when selecting the right software in this case, as well as for the right solution for the right project. So.
All good advice. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, so we are at our Q&A. So we got a couple questions in already. I think we'll tackle a few of these. Let's see. All right, what is your tech stack, specifically your ERP and WMS? Robert, we'll start with you on this one. Looks like people want to know what's working.
Yeah, for sure. So, for us, for our business, our ERP is again on a Power 9 system, our AS400. Unfortunately, we're not running a WMS system at the moment because of the other projects that's ahead of it. That's next. So ERP is made by Iptor. It's called ASW. It's a very well-known system, especially in Europe, and it's a full stack from all of your accounting systems, inventory, sales, all that. And along with our EDI systems, we have everything on-prem. So we receive orders, we send orders out, and all of our orders are in our ERP system.
And Mike, what's in the tech stack for you guys?
We're also running on a Power 10, but all of our software packages are all custom built here. The only thing that we have purchased was Infor for our accounting, but everything else we've developed in-house. And besides WMS, we also have a yard management system, a transportation management system, a container management system, because we're dealing with all aspects of shipping, from picking up at the port to distributing out to customers. So it's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And Charlie, are there any partners that you want to call out from Varsity that you see that come up a lot, maybe in your talks with customers and prospects?
That would probably get me in trouble because I'll leave people out. But what I will say is that Varsity maintains, I don't know, 35, 45 different interfaces. And, within those 35, multiple various releases of each. We also go cross-platform. I mean, our solution runs on the eye. But, this day and age, we throw a small partition of one on the cloud, and we can, go back and forth with really any system. And, I should say, of course, our, ProShip itself, is not on the eye, right? And it can connect to anything. And then the same thing with WorldLink CMS. But we maintain turnkey interfaces. Some of the ERPs that we're partners with actually have a toggle that says, yes, integrate with Varsity, and the interface is there. So we make it very, very easy for folks to integrate with us.
Awesome. Great to hear. All right. So another question that came in, how can we ensure that our shipping solution is adaptable to future changes that may come up in the industry? Charlie, I think I'm going to send this one back to you.
So say the first part of it again about the multiple changes.
Yeah. So how can we ensure that our shipping solution is adaptable to future changes in the industry? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that the answer is don't use a carrier provided system, right? I mean, a multi-carrier shipping software package with a good reputation, and one that's investing development dollars and time into the future is important. So one example, and we didn't cover this, but what industry experts and others are saying that what's on the horizon for these carriers is demand-based pricing, right? Dynamic pricing, if you will. So factor all that in now, right? So think about, like Vegas charges for their hotel rooms, based on availability, how many conventions are there, how many rooms are available, dictates what the price is. Airlines have done it for years. We're very confident that's coming with these primary parcel carriers. So that's a good example of getting with a company that's ahead of the curve, that's already had preliminary conversations about things like that, and is prepared for it. We'll let that just set in what I said there for a second. That's really going to change things. And if something doesn't get someone off the dime to go from a single carrier strategy with minor exceptions to a true multi-carrier strategy, I don't think anything will. We're talking about
Can I add to that? I've been using Varsity for over 20 years, and they're definitely adaptable, that's for sure. Always keeping everything up to date. Never have an issue with that.
And, Katie, so I answered that way, but, another example of adaptability is something that has capabilities that you're not using today, right? So someone could put us in and just, it's a fast call back and forth to generate parcel carriers labels, but later they want to get involved with the shop floor or the warehouse in a more advanced manner, like pick to label. Let us tell them which corrugated boxes should be used. Let us rate shop at the website in real time, looking at the orders in their cart. And we do this, by the way, looking at the orders in their cart, having all the dimensions and the breaks, and suggesting 3 different boxes, all of which different size, that stay underneath the dim rate, and give them that exact rate quote in that case, which has been chased for years, and no one's been able to do it without that kind of functionality. You need to know how many boxes, what the sizes of them are, and what the various carrier rates are, and factor in dimensional rating. So that's a great definition of adaptability.
For sure. All right, we've got another question here. Can anyone on the call talk to speed of ROI on switching? Going from free carrier systems to something with a cost will need to be justified to my leadership team. I think that Robert has already talked a little on ROI. Mike, is there anything you want to touch on here? Should we go to Robert?
Not particularly. I don't think we based it on ROI. It was just something we needed to do in order to keep up with our industry and with our customers. So it was a no-brainer, and basically we just had to do it. We didn't do an ROI or anything like that. So, but it has brought on new business, so it was definitely worth the investment.
All right, Robert, you want to tackle that one then?
Yeah, I mean, to stay very general, right? I think I heard three carrier systems and want to go into one and want to justify it with management, correct? Is that okay?
Yep.
I mean, to say in general, first look at what are you doing today? What is it taking for the effort? Look at the labor side. What is it taking the effort to ship with the three carriers? And then what is that? If you measure it in time, how long does each one take? And the other part of it is taking the hard costs, which are how many computers are you using? Can you eliminate some of those, or can you consolidate talent or shippers? People. If you're using 10 people to ship, can you redirect that to something else? Can you use less people? It's all about taking what you have now and taking what you're going to get after, based off of what best suits the business. That one's it's difficult because everyone's have a different process, different systems, different ways of doing things, different commodities. So I think if you start there, find what you're doing today, look at your time, look at the hard cost, and then take what you're looking at to consolidate to Varsity or other software, and see what that looks like. What can I consolidate? And then from there, you can make it a little bit more finite as far as what, the details, go into the details after that.
As far as the speed to ROI for you guys, Robert, that was pretty quick, correct?
Yeah. So for us, the approach we took was add, customer A, add customer B. We're talking months, less than a year, definitely. And, versus, initial plan was a little bit longer than that, but we did it in, less than 1 year for a specific customer, for example. And it's because we got involved internally, the IT team, the operations team, and ownership. That's key to making that work as well, right? Taking ownership of the processes. And for us, that worked out very well.
Yeah, I think having the right people, those key stakeholders, that's probably one of the most important parts of the process too. Looks like we've got one more question, time for one more here. What metrics besides ROI best capture the improvements from moving to a unified shipping solution? Charlie, you wanna take the first
Well,
crack?
sure. I mean, that's kind of a different question. So what customer satisfaction, okay, would be one. Speed of delivery, right? I mean, if you're using the right carrier, if you've got certain carriers do better with certain things, if you can get it there faster, that does translate to customer satisfaction. Lack of chaos, you know what I mean? Like, so employee employee satisfaction, right? I mean, there's warehouses that are just, it's a miracle stuff, makes it where it's supposed to be, and it's a constant point of chaos. But and I think efficiency, of course, but yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Hey, I'll add to that a little bit, Charlie. So, we talked about data. Real-time data is, now in today's environment, it's key, right? As soon as you have something, you want to see if it's shipped, not shipped, ready to ship. That's a big part of how people make decisions nowadays. Is the truck going to be late? Is the pickup late? We have the documents, all those things. What status is a shipment is at? Having that, having a visibility of that into one one place is key to make those
Yeah.
decisions. So that, data is, is for us is played a good part of what we're
Sure.
doing.
And yeah, and I think, Katie, another metric would be, peace of mind, right? Reliability. If something happens to one of your carrier provided systems and it's your main hub and you're off site, and these carriers, that's not their primary, people like ProShip and Varsity and others are known and are their whole reputation. This is all we do is write software that is specifically for this purpose. The carrier's purpose is deliver packages, right, and make money doing it. So, the reliability and the support and things like that aren't always there. Whereas more of a true professional multi-carrier shipping software package takes a lot more pride in that system running all the time.
Yeah, Charlie, I think that risk management, definitely, that's something we can't leave off the list.
Yeah,
Well said.
and also to add to that is, single point of contact. You have one number to call if something goes wrong, versus multiple numbers and trying to figure out who you should call, right? You want to eliminate that as much as you can. So
awesome. All right. Well, we've had a great discussion here. We thank everybody for sticking around with us. And thank you to our panelists for speaking here. I hope everybody has a great day. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.